that I was going to finish off what I was attempting to present to you last night, because I've got more notes. I had a look at those today, so we're going to do that. So we'll do that, and Douggy's been at court. Now, for those that are sick and tired of hearing his name, and sick, because I've seen the comments, if you're sick and tired, just come back to the next live on Sunday. But what I have is the court transcript, and what I'm going to do is read you the court transcript so that you get it. Chapter and verse, or verse and chapter and verse. So you know what the facts are. I'm not making this up. This has come from a court of law in this country. But if you don't like that, then how do we end shite? I see you. Des Ashton is a very, very intelligent man, let me tell you, and he's on our side. So be gentle. Hang on a second. What's going on? Oh, that's right. That's very interesting. It's lagged already. Maybe YouTube are having problems. Anyway, I've been doing some recording today for my radio show on Saturday, so I need to get rid of that. Sorry, it's just clogging up my desk. But I'll get to the comments, the parish notes first. Next live is going to be Sunday. It's going to be the usual timing, although I am thinking of making all of the live 7:30 onwards, because you know, you can always eat your dinner, your tea, your supper whilst or wherever you are in the world. If you're having a bite to eat, then you can watch this, listen to this like a podcast. Hang on, I need God's tincture, the hibiscus. Some people don't actually believe that this is hibiscus. Oh, it is. I bought a couple of years' supply. Bugger me, that's hot. Let me just do this. I've got that. Let's just get myself set up. There's lots of stuff going on. Not just, you know, the subjects that we're talking about this evening. I'm peddling furiously. But thank you to everyone that's in the body of the Kirk at the moment. We'll let everybody get their feet under the table. I know that's there. Thank you. That is there. Thank you. Not that I'm OCD, you understand. So Des Ashton says, hello everyone. Notification bell on, and surprise, no one in the chat. Blimey, you must have been in it early, Des. I do feel early. Only 6 hours to go. Blimey. Best get some extra Battenberg in. I wonder if we could send Battenberg around the world. Maybe we could send some to the Donald. We did think about this last year for the 3rd birthday. 3's a very special number. It's a universal number. So, you know, I'm not sending him 3 Battenbergs. That's, you know, over-egging the pudding. But maybe we should. Do you think I should send Starmer some Battenberg and tell him what it's for? Because it might help. Les Griffith says YouTube Australia Australia to introduce ID verification. No ID, no login. It's starting. But what did I tell you, Les? Just keep your eyes on Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Because whatever goes on, because they're all weft puppets. They're all being told what to do. Oh, remember that video we have of you doing that certain thing? Yes. One nation under blackmail. So if you don't do as you're told, well, oh, that'll miraculously be released to the press. I mean, if you look at Meghan Markle and her Blue movies, it wasn't her, really. But every time the oh, Adrian, no, rein that in. Manda Sky, things are ramping up to warp speed. Oh yes, oh yes. But I did say to you last night, just view everything and laugh, because they think we're thick. Welcome to the body of the Kirk, Manda Sky. Paulie Galdieri, good evening, Adrian. You're utter wrong, and hope you've had a good day. It's been very interesting. It's been very, very interesting. There was a hiatus where I thought, oh, it's a bit quiet. Wonder what's gone on. And then I get the paperwork, and I know what's gone on. So I will tell you. There says Douggy bemoans dark forces are targeting him, calling them evil. karma is sometimes a bitch. It's not dark forces. They're not targeting him. He's never once shown any contrition in the, when was he sentenced? 2023. No, hang on, it's 2025. No, it must have been 2022. He's not shown an ounce of contrition. None. Zero. Zilch. Nix. Nada. Nout. He's not actually acknowledged that it's his actions, his words, his responsibility. And he's just not. So they're not dark forces. How do we shite, man? Who does he think he is? Jeffrey Epstein? Oh. He's not Tommy Robinson. He's not fighting for freedom or the free speech or anything. Because if he was, you would see outside of social media, he would be gaining traction. He would be in the media fighting for free speech. And seemingly on Friday, we now have an online safety bill. He didn't stop that, did he? No. Dark forces, my hairy backside. Beata says, Les, Douggy might be many things, but why does Mappa want to close him down? They don't, Beata. He's making shit up. This boy is a pathological liar. And how can I say that? I can tell you that he's a self-admitted liar in 2 cases at the High Court. One, Jeremy Vine did him for defamation, and he capitulated, that's as in Douggy. He capitulated and said, I lied, Your Honour, in the High Court, in a court of law. It's a matter of public document. He admitted to lying. And then DC Janet Percival had to take him to court. And what happened? He admitted to lying. So twice in the High Court, he's a self-confessed liar. So for me, that's a course of conduct. Of course it is. So that means he's a perpetual liar. I do not believe a single word that comes out of his mouth. Now, I can do about me goggly eyes, but I tell you what, he's never once said that I've lied. Not once. Not once. Because he knows that I'm telling the truth. He knows that I'll tell the truth. And he knows that I've got stuff about him that he never, ever, 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 ever wants coming out into the public domain. Isn't that right? He doesn't even know himself. He's going to go after everybody until he's vindicated. And he's never going to be vindicated. So we'll get to the court transcript from today. I will read it verbatim, and I will have to explain. The only parts that I will change will be where they've used an initial, and I will have to explain who that is. So it's the court, the master, defense, complainant. I will have to explain that to you as I go along. But everything else, I am not changing anything. It's facts. Because Douggy will end up lying to you. Like the court case, 5 weeks, his daily report from the court. The only journalist ever to report on his own court case. That's not something that I would be proud of. You're in a court of law, bunny lad. 5-week trial. And the only pride you've got is, well, I reported as a journalist on my own court case. He's not a journalist. He's not. He's not even a citizen journalist. And remember this fact. Number 1, he never took to the stand. Why? Because, well, a KC trained in such would have ripped him metaphorically to shreds. He never took to the witness stand. Nobody cross-examined him. Why is that then? I'll let you be judge and jury. So, Beata, he might be many things. Yes, and we do, look, we don't want to see anyone end up in the place and the position that he's in. He might squeal, but so long as you're paying behind a paywall to get what you can get for free from the mainstream media, other than his 2 phone-ins, and he'd be setting those calls up. And just in case you are behind the paywall, just watch. Because all of the callers will be, I wrote to you in prison, I wrote to you in prison, I wrote to you in prison. Oh, mate, how are you? Yeah. He's not generating any first-time callers unless he now starts telling people, oh, just come on and say you're a first-time caller. Stuart says, evening, Rev. Hope Sister Mary has a slice of the Battenberg ready. Hope she's not in the cucumber patch again. Oh, both. But mind you, it's been lashing it down today, so it's been very wet for Sister Mary, sadly. There was a couple of messages from me saying I had to change the timing of the live, and I'm just doing this to wait for people to come into the body of the Kirk. Mad Matt UK, good evening, Rev. Good evening, everyone. Mad Matt UK, welcome to the body of the Kirk. Rev, has Matron installed a bishop's finger yet? Oh, I think she's had quite a few of those, Mad Matt. Apparently, it's a very good pint. I'm sure it is. So if anybody fancies the bishop's finger, just let me know, and I'll have a word. Andy B says, I'm early now, but still will be late. I'm sure, Rev. Actually, you're on time, Andy B. And Des Ashton, hello, Wrong'uns, I'm back. Okay. I'll try and do this. Hopefully that's just fixed the sound inequality. Because it's so warm today, it's so close, and it's going to get warmer. You know what we Brits are like. We just want to talk about that bloody weather. I see you. Hello, everyone. I hope you are all well tonight. Yeah, 5 lives on the trot. Knocking my pipe out this week. Matthew Whedon evening will be sharing on Facebook and X. Oh, I say. What, oh, Matthew? Des Ashton says, I do hope we will be discussing the real issues and not the Bell End's ravings. They're not his ravings. It's a court. It's a court of law. It's the Crown Court. That's where he was. Well, he wasn't. He was via Microsoft Teams. Seemingly, I don't use it because it's shite. But it's what the main organisations, I think, NHS and police and courts and stuff can, because you can't hack it easily. But sorry, man, the Sky, if you're not going to stay with what we're doing tonight, but it is important. He's been to court. It's something new. I wouldn't ordinarily do this, but the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want anyone to say anything that isn't true and factual and honest and have integrity. So that's why I'm going to read it to you. I see you said to Des, if you'd been one of those taken in by him, you may be glad he's being exposed at last. Just saying. I see you. Des is very on it and sharp, I promise you. Andrew James, Starmer is very much like Biden. Look at watch, sits awkward, and can't stand hard questions from the media. I know he can't. He's all right if he's telling you, do as you're told, give us your taxes. Do as you're told, give us more taxes. Do as you're told. 22 billion black hole. Aye, had a win shite, mate. I mean, it's a comedy routine. 22 billion pound black hole, and he's sending 300 billion to Ukraine for no apparent reason other than corruption, money laundering. It's one of the most corrupt countries on planet Earth. And there's Sniffy, who's not been seen for weeks, if not months. Where is he? Is he doing out his hotel in Eilat? Is he staying in the penthouse suite? He's definitely not in Ukraine because, well, he's being told he can't have any more money. So if he can't have any more money, he's not going to go on the grift, is he? Just, it must be a cold. Yeah. Right, lads, charge! I see you. Says Starmer is a child, a spoilt child. He's in a child. He's mucking about with the Fun Boy 3. I'm sure they're having fun. Tom Harneys. Evening, everyone. As a wrong'un philosopher once said, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Battenberg Man. Or is that, it's Battenberg Man? Or is that Battenberg Man? It's different in the Northeast. You too will wonder why other superheroes are not this fragrant. Because everybody else is wearing their underpants outside of their tights. Andrew James says, you can say that again, never done a proper job in his life and had everything handed to him. Is that Starmer? Or are we still talking Douggy? Douggy, by the way, is 45-year-old. He's 45 in January. He's 46 in January. He's never had a proper job either. It makes you wonder if he lived with a rich uncle during his childhood. I think that's Starmer. I think he's a mummy's boy. Right. Yeah, if you could smash the lights on your way in. Yeah, utter wrongin'. Jackie Glasgow, when made aware of people imprisoned for tweets, Trump said, I think they'll be releasing them soon, and now I think I heard Lucy C is being released. We said this a few weeks ago, that it was in the mainstream media that she was being released early. there's a couple of things that I hope for Lucy. One, she is allowed the privacy to land with her family, with her children and her husband, allowing her to land. Look, if she gets somebody as an agent, she will make a lot of money from mainstream media and book deals and everything. So I wish her well with those. And I do hope somebody can guide her proportionately and appropriately to a good path where, you know, the trauma of being inside, I hope she's being looked after. Understand playing the card game Uno. I've never played that. Canasta, maybe. Poker, maybe. And 3-card whist, maybe. But proper cards, not some Uno? What the bloody hell's that? Anyway, it was reported earlier today about Lucy getting out. Manda, it was reported weeks ago. But no, and I said it on the live. She's getting out early. But nobody, until Trump goes, oi, you're wrongin'. To Starmer, let people out of jail. Tweets, man, tweets. And you've got rapists running around in this country. Afghan rapists, and what are you doing about those? Nothing, Mr. President. Right, well, get it sorted then. Just seen a vid of Douggy saying he may not be on YouTube tomorrow. Control-Alt-Delete, man. Don't believe what he's saying. Probation, they've given him a license, and he has to adhere to the license. And when I read you the court transcript, because I am going to do that, you will understand what the courts are dealing with. Amalia Grassi, who's Douggy? Is it Alex? Yes. It's Douggy. And the reason why we call him Douggy, and he's evidently not aware of this, or his team, he rang Graham Torrington on a late night phone-in and then tried to discuss having sex with his dog. We have the video. If anybody questions it, we have the video. Thankfully, Graham Torrington got him off fairly sharpish. But he went on as Douggy. Control-Alt-Delete. I don't believe a word that he says. Well, normally he has his MAPA meeting or his probation meeting on a Thursday. And he is, in my view, sailing so close to the wind, it is merely just a matter of time before he's either sectioned or he goes back into jail. Now, I am not a psychologist, a forensic psychologist, or I don't have any experience in that field. But what I do have is over 6 decades of watching and observing human beings and their machinations. And I would suggest very gently and respectfully that what we are watching is the unraveling of someone in social media. And he's doing it online. And I don't wish that for him. He can say whatever he wants. I'm not going to vindicate him. He's a liar. He's a self-confessed liar. He's the worst of the worst in my eyes. And I'm allowed that because this is a social commentary channel, so I can talk about things that are going on. The Theatre of the Mind is a social commentary channel, and he is a public figure as far as I'm concerned, and I can comment about it. I can also comment because my lived experience, and he believes his own lies, and I don't even think that he knows what he's lying about. So he's telling you that he hasn't been with me, seen me, since he was 19. So 19 would have been 1999. I left Century 106 in 1999 to go to, I left in the August and started in the October for Real Radio in South Wales doing their late night phone-in. But at the same time, I was back in Nottingham every weekend. We were going, I've told you stories where his hair was falling out. And it was at Mr. Man's Chinese restaurant. And this was way into the 2000s. And we had daily conversations. I've told you about those. We had daily conversations. And in fact, I stayed at his flat. So you can time this to around, was it 2003, 2004? I was working for LBC at that point, and I stayed at his flat that he was renting at Canary Wharf. So he's lying. He can't remember what the truth is. But I can. Because I've got corroborative evidence. I've got the emails. I've got the contact he tried to make with me via text on Facebook Messenger. I'm not going to tell you when that is, because if it ever ends up with third-party scrutiny, I'll just present it and go, man's a liar. He's a pathological liar. And I can say that, and he knows that I'm telling the truth. That's why he's got to take the piss out of my eyes. I mean, how weird. Is that the best you've got, Alex? In fact, I'll tell you this. You said when you first came out of prison, take your videos down, apologise, or I'm going to the police. Now, 7 weeks later, I'm still waiting, Alex. I'm still waiting. Do you need me to go to the police? Because I can. I've got enough. But I think you've got enough troubles of your own without me giving you more stress and grief. But I have got enough. Course of conduct. Any court in the land. Course of conduct. And oh, Alex will understand this. Douggy will understand this. Because there's a thing called the jigsaw theory. So if you give enough information away about an individual and you think that by not speaking their name or naming them, you can get away with anything that you can. But the jigsaw theory in defamation is there for a reason. And what is that reason? Because if his audience understand who the goggly-eyed one is, he doesn't have to name me. And defamation has something embedded within it called the jigsaw theory. And I know he will know that, but he's trying to be clever. So just letting you know, Poligatieri. No, he's not. He didn't want it coming out, but he did come out at the trial. So one thing, at the trial, didn't take to the witness stand. He was saying that his barrister this, his barrister that, he was put into special measures, or he had special measures placed upon him where the court allocated him a KC, a very good KC that was also a judge. But he wanted to represent himself. And today in court, he's already said, oh, my KC says I was inappropriately dressed. You couldn't be any more camp, Alex, if you tried. There was no KC there on his behalf. He is representing himself. And it will become very self-evident once I start reading the transcript. Les Griffith says, odd how people like Andrew Lawrence... Has Andrew Lawrence been cancelled? And Katie get cancelled, but the convicted stalker doesn't. He's still on licence, Les. And he's sailing very close to the wind, from what I'm being told. And the people that are telling me, I trust implicitly. So as I say, this is my lived experience. This is a social commentary channel that we talk about anything that's kind of in the mainstream news or anything that's going on at the moment. Like last night, I gave you something that you won't get anywhere else. And tonight, you won't get this anywhere else. I know Nottinghamshire Live, or Notts Live, have done a piece which I haven't read yet. I'll read when I finish this live. Paulie Galtieri, he did say googly-eyed nonce once. Oh, of course he did. But as I say, for the moment, I'm not going to add to his woes. Because one of two things will happen. He will either be sectioned or, and I know more than I'm letting on, no, I won't elaborate further. But I will say that he's either going back to jail or he'll be sectioned. This boy can't go on like this. He can't. And I've said many times in my lives that somebody needs to get an arm around him and they need to help him. And not, I mean, once he starts getting drunk, that's it. Game over. He'll say shit that he can't remember and it will be damning and he is on licence. It's as simple as that. You can't tackle the system. A court appointing a laureate barrister is common in stalking and sexual abuse cases. It's to save the accused having direct contact with the victims. Hence, David Aubrey doing the cross-questioning. That is exactly the reason why he was appointed a barrister. You've nailed that on the head, Terry. Aubrey felt sorry for him, so also put in the mitigation. Correct. Because I think he wanted to cross-examine the victims. You can't do that. So thank you, Terry. You're absolutely bob on. I despise the man, but as I previously stated... Sorry, I'll slow down. I despise the man, but as I have previously stated, I don't believe prison is the correct place for him. He needs long-term mental health treatment. Thank you, Les. But for the moment, he was sentenced to 5.5 years. He's been let out on license. He hasn't completed his sentence. He's let out on license. And if he transgresses that license, he's going back to jail. Now, I will tell you, for absolute technical term that we use in radio, shit sure, it was traumatic inside. I'm not going to elaborate further either, because I always know more than I let on. And that's why he's not attacked me, because he knows I'm telling the truth. But as I say, 7 weeks in, Douggy, I'm waiting. Let's have it. I'm waiting. But you know that if you do anything, you're straight back into chokey for 3 years. And it doesn't even have to be you. It can be one of your flying monkeys. It can be you or an agent in your stead. That will be in your license. Hang on, who's Eric? I think, Les, I've been told by an impeccable source, that he refused to engage with the prison psychologists. He refused to, he's the victim. He's the victim. Oh yes, Bethany, Les does know, but I'm so glad that Les is not putting it in the comments. Mandatory, yeah. I mean, I just, any human being, look, life is Eric, you evidently don't know who I am. You evidently don't know who I am. And I'm not going to elaborate here, but it's a court transcript. Now, if you want me to make a video so you can see the transcript that I am reading, happy to do that for you, mate. Happy to do that for you. Because it's on court note paper. Let me just have a look at it. It's the solicitor's attendance note. It's as good as a court transcript because it's the solicitors that have noted at attendance. So the people involved are going to be, they have, hang on, let me see if I can just move this around. Don't know why it's doing that. Bloody hell. So there's abbreviations within this. One is master, one is claimant's counsel, one is defendant, and one is claimant. There are, I mean, if you really don't want me to talk about him, then I'm very happy to précis this and give you the most important parts of the note, because it is, I mean, it's breathtaking. And what is being talked about by Douggy in his videos, as I say, there's mania in there. I mean, it's manic. And he doesn't know what to say. So I think there's been parts of, it's been pre-recorded after his MAPA meeting, which is a Thursday. I'm presuming his probation meeting is on a Thursday. And he's then had the meeting. It wasn't at court. It was via Microsoft Teams. And they everyone dialed in. And from what I understand, young Douggy wasn't very gentlemanly either. And the court, from what I gather, wasn't very happy with him because, well, he's saying that MAPA and probation are colluding, my word, not his. I've said to you before that this is someone that I believe that is unraveling in the public spotlight. And I mean, for all the things that he's done and is doing, he can't escape himself. We're all here. to learn our lessons and to learn whatever we need to learn. But he needs to get an understanding of himself. He doesn't. He hates himself. Hates himself. He explained that in the court. Now, it was 5 weeks. And it was only when he realised he was facing time in jail, because he was told to go away and get all of his affairs in order, and a month later he was sentenced. He knew he was going inside, just didn't know how long for. But again, if you're calling the court system corrupt, you're calling the police corrupt, do you think that they're going to think, well, maybe he's just made a mistake? It's just life. Everybody's allowed one mistake. He made 4 or 8 or 10, because there are 10 restraining orders against him. 10. So you kind of, some people would go, okay, I get it. He's made a mistake. I don't know whether his solicitors were telling him advice. Just plead guilty. Just plead guilty. You'll get a smack on the wrist and get some restraining orders. No. He wasn't having that. He wanted the court to vindicate. He's the victim. He's the victim. He's the victim. Well, actually, he's not. The court decided that. Well, a jury of his peers decided that he was guilty ×4. And he's never appealed that. Why did he never appeal that? So part of the audience this evening will, like Amalia, go, I'm a fish out of water. The only thing I remember about Douggy is that he brought me great solace and calm during COVID. But I only watched his news vids. This seems very sad. I can't relate to this. A lot of people are in the same place as you, Amalia. He gave a lot of comfort, solace and joy during lockdown. Because as I said last night, we didn't know what was going on. We were trying to do our best for ourselves, our family, our community, our country. We were trying to do all of that. And there were some YouTubers that actually, Dr. John Campbell, he was kind of the go-to guy for anything to do with medicines and the medicinal front. And Douggy was just trying to make everybody laugh. But what you'll also notice is he's come out and doing exactly the same shtick that happened 2.5 years ago. And yet we've all moved on. Terry, that's funny. Whilst we are dissecting his behaviour, can I ask that we please remember his parents and sibling? That must be a living nightmare for them. Well, again, I'm very concerned that when he came out of jail, Douggy, he alleged that he had sex with a prison officer. He alleged sexual abuse by a prison officer. He alleged that they had so much sex, a baby was born from it. And I said at the time, if that is true, not sure, Paulie. I think his dad's in his 70s now. So Douggy has come out of jail at 1,000 miles an hour, and my advice has always been over the 2.5 years: just give him space. He needs breathing space. He needs to land when he comes out of jail, because he'll end up going back in. And he's come out at 1,000,000 miles an hour. He's alleged, and this is an offence. He's alleged that he's had sex with a prison officer. Whether it's true or not, he's made those allegations. And I'm sure that will be in contravention of his license. But the system might have to investigate that, because he's made the allegation. And that's why I said somebody needs to get an arm around him. I mean, he said it was a female prison officer, which I doubt completely. Bethany says, remember, John Campbell is not a medic, though. And in my view, Dougie's not a comedian. He's definitely not a phone-in presenter of my standing or standard. The Prison and Home Office would have investigated his claims. If true, the officer would have been arrested. Correct, Les, but he made it after he left prison. He didn't make those allegations while he was in there. As I said at the time, if he is making these allegations as a stab at some kind of humour, then that's errant and he needs to correct that. But he hasn't. So I'm going to get to... He is talking about liberty and freedom, but give me your money. It all seems to be about money, and I don't understand why. He's made more money than you or I ever will in our lifetime. I'm being given some figures that are astronomical. $500,000 a year. So I've said to you before, my guesstimate is that in kind of beginning to end, he must have had $1 million to $1.5 million go through his hands. That's life-changing money. There was Nottinghamshire Police. Went to court for 2 more restriction orders. And in that, because I was there, I was physically there in the court, and I'm pointing up there because he was up there to my left. That's where the seats are at the back, obviously, of the court. It's like an American court in Nottingham. And walk in. There was a representative from Nottinghamshire Police in front. There was somebody from some Nottingham thing on the other side, but I could see him on the TV. And they got the 2 restraining orders were given and ratified by the court. So he has 10 restraining orders now. And wow. Terry says double it and you would be closer to the truth. Wow. So the court, everything had been ratified before the day in court. So it was merely a paper exercise. They were just rubber stamping it. And the judge says to, was it KC Robertshaw, what is the defendant offering? And Mr. Robertshaw says, well, Mr. Belfield, when he leaves prison, has no way of earning any money. So the court found in favour of Nottinghamshire Police, but instead of the £20,000 in costs that they were asking for, they got £400 odd. Douggy had nearly £400,000 in his Champagne Sippers account. That's a matter of public record. And I was sitting in the court thinking, what the bloody hell? Doesn't the court know? Oh, rubber stamp. Gene Psychic, has he got a jail fetish or what? You might just enjoy showering with Bubba the Love Sponge. Who knows? Top bunk, bottom bunk. You don't know whether he's a top or bottom. Nice one, Bad Wolf Project. So let me read it to you. I also want to talk about the New World State. I'm going to finish off because it's important, my notes, so please stay with me. Don't know how long this is going to take. Terry Wookfit says it was a clever ploy. You realise company regulations state company funds can't be used for personal debts and legal costs. Gene Psychic says his house must be paid for now. No, it's got a small mortgage on it. Wonder if anybody was staying in the house while he was in jail, because he is a convicted stalker. I wonder if he had somebody live in the house. There's Griffith says, possibly Amalia, but when people tell you who they are, believe them, because they will show you. So let me be very, very clear. I know the man that I'm talking about. We had a friendship that I ended. He told Anna Breeze he looks up to me, or had looked up to me. That's why he nicked all of my lines. And it's funny. Honestly, it is funny. Why? Because if that's the best he's got, in my view, he doesn't have the talent. He doesn't. I'm not jealous of him. Why would I be jealous of him? I'm going to go on to bigger and better things. I've never been in jail. I've never been convicted of stalking ×4. I'm not a proven liar, self-admitted liar in a court of law. So I'm happy to live my life and go on and do other things. He's stuck where he is. Beata. Interesting. Yes, Hayden, apparently. How would you know that, Beata? Be interesting to find out how you came by that information. Rich says, Terry, it was an asset as AB was the only shareholder. Fines can't be used as a deductible expense. You can pay them, but not account for them in the books. Oh, interesting. I don't know what that means, Gene Psychic. He's flaking at the moment. Last time I looked, I don't know what that means. Terry, his gay artwork and ice lolly pictures and pink flamingo in the garden. The thing is, now I'm going to be really honest with you. The thing is, I know that, well, how can I say this? And he'll know who I'm talking about. I know that he danced with one of my ex-girlfriends. I know. So that's where, Reg D, any more on digital ID? I'm coming to that. Man, Reg, I'm just going to round this off, then I'm going to read the court papers, and then that will be it for the evening. I'm going to go on to the New World State part 2 from last night, and I'm also going to talk about Epstein, and I'm going to talk about digital ID. Because we only have a month to save the world, and you think I'm joking. Let me just make a note. Right. So today, young Douggy was... Why can't I do that? Move that to there. Okay. Young Douggy was at a hearing, High Court hearing, which was joined on Microsoft Teams. I'm not going to give you the client's name, but I will tell you that the matter was for harassment by Alex Belfield. And date the note was processed today, the 31st of July, 2025. Date of actual attendance, 31st of July, 2025. Now, this started at 2:30 this afternoon. So Master started the meeting or the hearing and said, understand this hearing is relating to defendant's application for an extension of time to file his defense. So that was the reason for the hearing today. Just that in solus. Just that. Nothing else. It wasn't sending him into prison. It wasn't dark forces. It was process. It was just simple process. He does not have a KC. He's representing himself. He may be getting legal advice from Robert Shaw KC or his company of solicitors. That I don't know, but he is representing himself, and that's why he was on this meeting. Now, the claimant couldn't be on this hearing because then that would have transgressed Douggy's license agreement and license conditions. So the claimant had to stay away from this hearing. The defendant believes that this had already been granted, has only just got his laptop back, and so has no opportunity to reply adequately. Doesn't know why we are here, adding to absurd costs. So the master said the extension was granted on the papers without claimant having an opportunity to object. The claimant has a right to object, and they have chosen to do so. It's just process. The claimant's counsel, again, just it's process, legal process. But as I say, if you need me to corroborate everything that I'm saying, I can do a video with this and let you read through the notes. So the claimant's counsel says, won't repeat the entire contents of the skeleton argument, but by way of an overview, defence's original application for an extension as made on 30th of May when he was imprisoned. The order granting the extension was made on the 8th of July when the defendant had already been released, which was on the 12th of June. Now, there's some argument as to whether the defendant in this hearing and or legal representation or the court knew when he was going to be released. Now, when he was, Mr. Justice Saini said when he sentenced him to 5.5 years in September 2022, that he was going to get out on the 15th of June. I knew that from the day he was sentenced. 2.5 years, it went to June 15th, which was the Sunday, and he got out on the Thursday, the 12th. But I think he may have had to inform the court that his address was no longer HMP Fossway. His address was his home address, which I'm not going to give out here. So the claimant's counsel also says that if the defendant had complied with the obligation to notify the court of his change of address, the judge would have been aware of his early release before the order was made. Furthermore, the complainant ought to be awarded costs, and the order varied based on the defendant's conduct. So this is where it's starting to get, the court is a bit frustrated by the defendant and the defendant's attitude. The defendant's basis for seeking an extension. So this is, it was the defendant was saying he didn't have enough time to put a defense together. He believes that he has the skills and the knowledge, but not the experience to represent himself in a court of law. So he's saying to the court, I need more time to put my defense together. This is too soon. I'm asking for this be deferred until October for me to be able to get my defense together. The defendant must have known that he was going to be released earlier in June, as he has posted online saying this. There was also a Daily Mail article, which was exhibited, which shows a screenshot of the defence's website with a countdown to his release, and was counting down until the middle of June. In any event, he failed to inform the court of his early release before the order was made. This is just process. It's not legal argument, it's just process. So further, the defendant had protested based on his access to resources, but this argument is not viable. The complainant has already provided the defendant with a 28-day extension. Why did the defendant seek this extension if he knew he wouldn't be able to comply with it due to being imprisoned? Defendant must have either known he was going to be released early or simply requested the extension to waste time. The defendant has been very active whilst in prison, stating he has written 6 books, been updating his website and promoting his upcoming tours and events. His YouTube channel has been active since February 2025, and he was instructing a solicitor whilst in prison, because there is other stuff going on, which I'm not going to go into tonight. The complainant is not trying to be unrealistic and appreciates there may be some extra difficulties when giving instructions in prison, but he has thrown himself into a lot of activity online after his release. So Section F of the bundle, that's the evidence for the complainant's bundle. Section F of the bundle shows material which has come to light after the variation application was made. There has been a lot of activity on social media since the 16th of July, some of which has been offensive and degrades the court and these proceedings. The defendant has a right to criticise, but he is also the subject of a restraining order and could have devoted his energy into the better cause of defending this claim than publishing his material. The defendant has referred to the courts being corrupt, crooked, and conducted live phone-ins on his YouTube channel, during which he has referred to the complainants instructing solicitors as Savills solicitors, quotation marks. He has also said he wanted to keep milking publicity from this. Further, the defendant states in a letter dated the 10th of July that he has been closely investigating. They're talking about a counterclaim here. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but he's talking about a counterclaim. But the defendant has not stated a proper basis in which he is seeking this further extension. He emailed the court yesterday saying he is unable to make a counterclaim due to his restraining order, but this is not reason to delay his defense. I will do a couple of more paragraphs so that you get this. And I am keeping this in case anybody, could be anybody, decides to lie about this and tell you anything other than facts. The major issue is that HMPPS won't let him access... Right, okay, don't need to say that. The defendant is currently trying to find a way to access this particular footage. No, I'm not going to do that. He finds it offensive that we have referred to the possibility that he has breached his order. So the court, claimant's counsel also says, let me just make sure. Right, again, this is just, I'm not going to read that out for varying reasons, but the purpose of me doing this is to give you clarity and facts and truth. I have this in my possession. I can use it to corroborate everything that I've said. But some of it is, there's no need for that. Or to go into any more depth. So let me just, we're coming to the end of this. And my purpose of reading this to the end is to show that there is clear guidance from the court and the judge, clear guidance. And the master says the parties clearly have history. The original application for an extension of time was made by the defendant while he was in prison as a result of a conviction for harassment against the claimant. The likelihood was that the defendant would be released from prison in June. The defendant was released from prison in June, but failed to inform the court of this ahead of the application coming before the judge. The defendant has been out of prison for quite some time and had notice of these proceedings and the particulars of claim for a considerable amount of time. Not being able to counterclaim does not affect the defendant's ability to file a defence. Defendant can make an application to amend the defence and make a counterclaim at a later time if required. The fact is that the defendant has to file a defence to this action. Originally consented to an extension until the 10th of October 2025 based on papers. That's just legalese. The factual scenario has changed since then, and the judge was not aware the defendant was out of prison. In fact, it says ME. I don't think they've not said who ME is. But ME was not aware of the defendant being out of prison. The defendant must therefore file and serve a defence no later than 4 p.m. Friday, 29th of August, 2025. Bank holiday weekend at the end of August. If no defence is filed by this deadline, default judgment will be entered against him. So now you know. basically the court has told him, let me just make sure that I've got that. The court has told him, get on with it, file your defence. And here's the date that you have to do it for. 4 p.m. Friday, 29th of August. The court has been quite generous in... Okay. The court has been quite generous in that extension. But there's no dark forces. There's nobody trying to do him. There's nobody trying to... they want me dead. That's just drama queenery. That's absolutely not happening. It's just silliness. Utter silliness. But it's a good narrative to get you to spend £5 a month to go behind his paywall. Oh, they're infamy. They've all got it. Infamy. No, mate. You're the problem, not the solution. It's really easy to see. He's not going to stop until he's vindicated. In fact, he won't stop until he ends up back in prison. Because he has license conditions that he can't transgress. He can't go beyond. So all I hear as a narrative is subscribe. The evil goons at Mapper. They're not evil goons. They're sick and tired of you, in my view. He says they're malicious, vindictive and spiteful. What? Because you're not getting your own way? Look, I can see a man in crisis. I can see a man that's highly stressed. Today, from his video, I can see a man that's full of mania. And with anything, he should have just taken his time. He didn't have to do anything on YouTube. Didn't have to do anything on his website. But he needs to have that adulation from his audience. In my view, and that's what I'm seeing. But saying that the evil goons at Mapper, you didn't engage with the psychologists or the clinical psychologists inside from my sources, and they're impeccable. Malicious, vindictive and spiteful. Honestly, I will tell you this for fact. There will be psychologists, clinical psychologists, forensic psychologists, Mapper, probation service. They will all have this at some future date as a study case. Because this is not normal. It just simply is not normal. In all of my 60-odd years of experience of life, it just isn't normal. But he still says, subscribe. So it's all about the money. I mean, as I say, I know more, much more. And I know what's in him. And if it ever came out, this needs to stop. Somebody needs to get an arm around him. Somebody needs to support him. He needs to get really strong support from whatever, whoever, whatever. Me knowing the man, what am I seeing? I'm seeing a man unravel in the spotlight. I don't wish that on anyone. Not anyone. But he knows. He knows it's close to the end. So we'll put that to bed. As I say, I'm only ever going to do stuff around Douggy if there's something new to report or a new insight that I can give you. I'm not, really not. I mean, he's just been, he's been quite vindictive, malicious and spiteful towards me. And I could see a mile away because of my background, my family, and Sunderland's not an easy place to grow up in, let me tell you. And because of my experience growing up in a really tough place, a very dark place. And Douggy knows all this. I've spoken to him about it. He knows my background. He knows everything. Martine says he lied to get people to give him money. I know. I know. Give us a pound. Give us a pound. He started that when he came out of prison and then realised, I think probation might have had a word with him, you can't do that. You just can't do that. So he didn't. But I will say this to you in all honesty. Him using my sexual abuse and rape when I was a child is unacceptable. And I don't have to do anything because you'll know through your own life experience. Just leave them to their own worst devices. And life will catch up with them. But I know what I can do, and I know what I will do if this continues. YouTube will take a very dim view of being vindictive and spiteful. And you're calling other people that? Not only is it vexatious, if you want to use the legalese, but vindictive, malicious and spiteful. And he's accusing others of that? Douggy, mate, we see you for what you are. And when people find out what I know, life will deal with you. Because I know what's in you. I know what evil looks like. And I see it every time I see your face. But as you will realise, I've said you need support and you need help. And this level of, and I know when Douggy went to Vegas, he worked his nuts off. I know he did. Because I've seen his schedule when he went to Vegas. I know he works hard. But that's not appropriate and proportionate here after spending 2.5 years in prison and some of it being traumatic. And coming out and calling everybody corrupt and spiteful and malicious and vindictive. The Mapagoons. Somebody needs to just say to him, look, what you're doing means you're going to end up back in jail. And I'm telling him right here now, I don't want that for him. I don't. That's too much, too far. I want him to get some help. No, I'm not, Ray. I'm not. As I say, using... Look, I was between 5 and 9 years old, and he's using that to score points. That's not the kind of man I want to be around or associate with or have anything to do with. But I will bring anything new to you. As I say, I know a load more, and I'm not dropping to his level because he's got to thieve other people's lines. He knows what I'm talking about. So, do you want me to talk about the New World State? Stuart, very good point. He needs reminding that he's on license. I think he forgets that when he's ranting. Beata, he used it in one of his videos. Thinks he's clever. But soon enough, I'm getting a YouTube manager, and I will make the YouTube manager aware of that. Which is really bizarre, because once you get to 10,000 subs, you are have a YouTube manager placed with you, seemingly, from what I understand. Karen Tinsley says, Nurse John Campbell did push the injections at the beginning. I wouldn't dream of having it, as was obvious, like the TikTok nurses pots and pans banging event. Event 201. Yes, of course, Karen. Agenda 21, I think, is what you're looking at, or Agenda 2030. Dom, I'm really not sure, and I'm not going to do any deeper dive into him, because even if I said that I believed that there was this going on or that going on or this, he would just say I'm lying. And he would use the standard line, I've never seen him since I was 19 in 1999. And that's a blatant lie. And I think he's under so much pressure from so many different angles that he can't remember what he's saying. He can't. He said he's been in showbiz for 40 years. He's 45. That means he was in showbiz when he was 5. Was he bollocks? He then said it was 30 years. He started when he was 15, which is, I wouldn't even say it was showbiz. He was playing the piano in old folks' homes. That's not exactly showbiz. That's not on stage entertaining thousands of people. Old folks' homes. Now, I know how much he was paid, and it was a nice little earner for him. And he, you know, he made friends with the old girls. But that's not showbiz to me. No, Amalia, it might be you because it's not buffering for me. Yeah, Ian McGee says, smash the like button. Smash the thummy thing. Let us get to almost 200. So what I want to talk about now is net zero, which I know you're probably going to go, bloody hell, man, Adrian. I mean, we've gone from Douggy to net zero. How can you do that? Well, the reason I'm doing this is because it's really, 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 really important, because you're being shagged by the government and net zero and Ed Millipede. So I believe that this net zero insanity will stop eventually, because the people that are financing it, the Rockefellers, can't keep the lie going when AI and then AGI and then ASI is just going to blow it out of the water. Thank you, Jean. I took a hammer out to bang my pots and knocked the arse out of my best Le Creuset. Oh, nice, Kaz, nice. Le Creuset, very nice. It's stopped now. Hope my TV behaves. Yeah, have a word with it, Amalia. Have a word. So net zero, it's not that I'm going to talk about net zero per se. I'm going to talk about how you've been manipulated into believing that it is a thing. Are you aware that it is enshrined in UK law, the Climate Change Act of 2008? Are you aware of that? That's net zero. So it's been enshrined in UK law, the Climate Change Act, 2008. You know who was in power then, don't you? Correct. Labour, I'm sure. I think it was Gordon Brown. Terry. I'll tell you later. So net zero, in essence, is just a different title. What they're wanting to do is build back greener. Now, I gave you, what I might do is I might, sorry, I thought there was something crawling on my leg. What I might do is I might just knit together last night's live and the talking about of the New World State, and then add this to it as a little addendum at the end, so that you can, it's there as a complete document. But build back greener. Remember who said build back better? Correct. The fat clown. The blonde one. But what they're doing is, because they want to build back greener, they're targeting the consumer, me and you. What they're going to do, and this is coming, and I know people will say, oh, that's a bit scary, Adrian. I understand that completely. But there is hope. We're going to stay together, stick together as a community, so we can help each other in varying ways. But the Climate Change Act of 2008, did you know that that was enshrined in UK law? They didn't bloody tell you, did they? Des Ashton, in order for regreening to be effective, you need more CO2 in the atmosphere. Do you know that CO2... I'll leave that there, Des, because I haven't got the stats in front of me, and I wish I did. So let's look at North Sea gas and oil. We've had the President of America laugh at our Prime Minister and say, you've got all that gas and oil in the North Sea and you're putting windmills up? As Ian McGee says, build back greener. My council chopped the many trees down in the local park and all around the town that I live. Exactly. They're not. Look, everything that I talk about here, and the local councils are in on it, the national government is in on it, Ed Millipede is absolutely doing what he's told from WEF. Have you not questioned why he's never being interviewed by journalists on TV? Are you never questioning why he's never being questioned by journalists in the mainstream media? And he wouldn't dare allow me to interview him. Because the man stabbed his own brother in the back to get the leader of the Labour Party. Can you not remember that? Ed Millipede knifed his own brother. He went to the unions, got the unions to back him, and he got leader of the Labour Party. David Miliband went, yeah, all right, I'm off to America. He's never come back since. A man that can knife his own brother in the back to get the leader of the Labour Party job. There is no integrity in that man. None whatsoever. In my view, of course. This is all about my opinion, so I can say what I go on. But WEF, they control him and Starmer. And Rachel Reeves was there in January for the whole week. The whole week in Davos. They don't go bloody skiing. So what you have to be aware of, and I know that you are because of what's gone on over the last 5 years, is they, whomever they may be, the puppet masters in the shadows, but they're getting the politicians to do their bidding, they are going to price the consumer out of affording gas and electricity. So look at how much you've paid for your gas and electricity over the last few years, comparatively to Europe and other countries around the world where it is much, much, much cheaper. These morons are trying to price you, the consumer, out of affording gas and electricity. So the Donald comes in and goes, bugger me, Starmer. No, figure of speech, Sakia, figure of speech. Bugger me, Starmer. No, Sakia, I'm just, I'm eloquating. Leave me alone. Shut up. You've got all this gas and oil in the North Sea. Why aren't you extracting it then? David Miliband, thank you, Bad Wolf Project. David Miliband is Chief Executive Officer of the International Rescue Committee. Is he a Tracy? Could he be a Dick Tracy? International Rescue Committee blending climate, conflict, and displacement issues globally. He's in on the game. But it's this pricing the consumer out of the gas and oil that really is nasty. So North Sea gas and oil, the President of the United States of America, the most powerful politician, if you can call him that, in the world. He's more powerful than China, although China's more powerful than America. And you've got Putin in Russia, and I've told you about the central bank digital currencies and what they're trying to do. So the North Sea gas and oil, you and I, as this amorphous mass called Great Britain, are being cut off from it. Why would they do that? Because they don't want you to be able to afford gas and oil. Gas and electricity. And look at how much you've been paying. Thousands and thousands and thousands for your annual bills. And nobody's helping you. But look at Starmer. He's giving Ukraine £3 billion every year for the next 100 years. Yet they're taking your gas and electricity prices out of your arse. I mean, we don't have the infrastructure or technology for constant supply. So if we've got the windmills, as Donald Trump is calling them, they'll whiz around, and then when it gets too windy, they've got to shut them down because they can't really do wind. So when the windmills are not working, then we go to the solar panels. But if they're seeding the clouds, so they're blocking out the sun, how are we going to get? And they're covering all of these fields in solar panels. I'm going to give you some facts about how many solar panels, they are literally covering the countryside with them. So what is coming, and mark my words, I've told you about Canada, Australia and New Zealand for years. And now they're bringing digital ID in. If you can't log in, you're not logging on. In Australia, I'm telling you, they're just different parts of the World Economic Forum. And the World Economic Forum is pulling the strings. Supply is going to be rationed. So they want to price you out of affording gas and electricity. We're not drilling for North Sea gas and oil like, some of the Saudi countries. They've got so much bloody oil. They've got so much wealth. Some of the countries don't even pay taxes. Can you imagine how much money you would have if you didn't pay any taxes? The political classes have done this over the last 50 years. When Edward Heath shagging rent boys and just chucking them overboard, he took us into the common market. He took us into a market where we were going to make shitloads of money. And we didn't. We gave them a load of money. It all started with Edward Heath. So you know what they had on Edward Heath to make him do as he was told. That's why he was doing the old shoulder thing. Mike Yarwood doing the impression and doing all that, making him into some kind of, humanizing him. Have you ever heard of the Climate Emergency Fund? So the puppet masters are going to ration your supply. It's coming. And also, if you want another clue, can you not remember Liz Truss when she became Prime Minister saying there's going to be power cuts in December? Can you remember that? She was being told that, not by anybody in this country, and she wasn't... Can't remember what they call them now. Jesus. It'll come back to me while I go. So, do your own research around the Climate Emergency Fund and who they supply money to. Because now I'm going to look at how to follow the money. Where the money comes from, where the money goes to. Follow the money. Remember me harping on months and months and months ago about the United States Agency for International Development. Knock, knock. Who's there? Just Stop Oil. Bloody hell, where did you go to? They were defunded by the United States Agency for International Development. That's where they were getting the money from. So Just Stop Oil stopped when the money stopped from the American taxpayer. Stopped. Now, Larry Fink, he's the Chief Executive Officer of BlackRock. And I've said to you before, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, JP Morgan, they're all one and the same thing, one and the same entity. But BlackRock has $11 trillion worth of assets. Manchurian candidate. That was the term that I was looking for Liz Truss. She wasn't a Manchurian candidate, but I'll tell you that Keir Starmer could be. Got a swivel on that. So Larry Fink, he's the Chief Executive Officer of BlackRock. Oversees $11 trillion in assets. And he reckons that data centers will use 30% of all energy that we produce on this island. So remember, they're going to price you, the consumer, out of affording gas and electric. They're going to ration the supply of the gas and the electric to you so that BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, JP Morgan, et al. Can have the power supply for their data centers. So you know they're talking all this shite about electric cars. Oh, by the way, the cargo ships, some firms of cargo ships are saying they're no longer going to put electric vehicles in cargo because the ship's gone up. I came out of my airport on Monday night and there was a proper car blaze, just side of the road, woof, off it went. And I said to the taxi driver, I said, is that an electric car? He said, don't know, mate. He said, when I was coming into the airport, I thought they were going to close the road because it was just starting then. And literally 10 minutes later when we went past, woof. And I've told you before, the insurance companies won't insure them. They won't. You can't keep like these scooters or bikes or anything electric in your house. They won't insure them. Yes, Gary, thank you for that. I'm sure we've got nearly 250 people watching. We can get it over 200 tonight. So remember that the data centers for the phones, for the AI, for facial recognition, and we'll get to that in just a little while. I told you last night, that's what they're going to use. Facial recognition. Oh, did you see in the mainstream media today? Honestly, I must be bloody psychic. I wish I could win the fucking lottery every weekend. I told you last night they were going to use facial recognition. Today, Thursday, the Met have said they're going to double their capacity for facial recognition. Oh, I wonder why that is then. Well, Mayor Khan, who's Fabian Society and World Economic Forum and got 10 million in the bank, how did he get that on a politician's wage? Just asking for a friend. But the Met, they're doubling their capacity for facial recognition. So they're going to need all these data centers. So you can't have the electric that's going to go to the data centers that's going to operate the facial recognition data for the government. And you think a dystopian nightmare's not on the way? Chinese Communist Party, they've already got it in bloody China. Des Ashton says the surveillance state needs buckets more energy than we produce. That's what I'm saying about the consumer being priced out of the gas and the electric. And also, remember, digital ID, they're going to need data centers for that. Remember, they're going to stop you from accessing the internet. They're going to stop you. Oh, it's to protect the kids. If they were protecting the kids, they would know where the tens, if not hundreds of thousands of children that disappear in this country, and they'd be stopping the Muslim shagging gangs in the north, the rape gangs. If they're that concerned about the safety of our children, and these are teenagers, so they're still children until they hit 18. Was that it, Tower Block Tracy? Thank you. A fire has caused significant damage to around 50 vehicles at Jacksonville International Airport in Florida. It's like Luton Airport. Wasn't it an electric vehicle that caused the fire at Luton Airport? Did you notice how they closed that story down? Did you see any more reportage in the mainstream media? No, of course you didn't. And yet today, the mainstream media, it's about joining the dots. It's about the jigsaw, the world state jigsaw. And you've just got to follow the money. So some of these agents provocateurs, are getting paid money, or were, from the United States Agency for International Development. Politicians were making tens of millions, almost billions out of that, because it was just like, goes abroad, comes back, goes abroad, comes back, goes to Ukraine, nearly 100 million goes to the big fella. Yeah, he's probably dead now. So Larry Fink reckons that the data centers will use 30% of our total electricity. That's more energy than a single city in this country. Remember, they need energy for surveillance systems. They need energy for AI. They need electricity, and they have to decide who gets it. Is it going to be the government for their surveillance systems? 1984 writ large. Will they get the electricity for their security systems, their surveillance systems, and their AI? Or will the consumer, you and I, be allowed to have electricity? You know what the answer is to that. And this is all coming from Starmer. That's why he's the battering ram that's got WEF into power in this country. And that's why Larry Fink was in 10 Downing Street, greasing the palm of Sir Keir Starmer and Rachel from Accounts. Now we'll get it. So that's the electricity that they want to control. They're not going to let you have it. Jesus, you can fuck off, live in a mud hut, because that's where it's going. They want you. They don't want you to have houses. They want you to live in a mud hut. No shoes, no clothes. They're not going to allow you to do that, because digital ID is going to cream all that. Gone. Gone, gone, gone. So now we look at, I mentioned Bovaer last night and what they're putting in, like cow's farts. I mean, they're laughing in our faces. Cows farting doesn't change climate. China's fucking coal-powered power station. Yeah. But do you know something? I've watched research and very clever people saying, well, we've only gone up by like 1.5 degrees. And the Earth will correct that. The Earth, living organism if you wish, knows what it's doing, whether it's well, technically we should call her a she because she gives us pleasure. So the Earth, Mother Earth, she, just leave her to get it right. An artificial intelligence. Now I did some I did some research yesterday, and it was how can I term this? It was very, very incendiary. And what I was researching was proper. I mean, proper. So I was getting names and places and dates and money and stuff that. So the large language models that are guiding AI. When I was getting to some real truths about some real dark people, it was like, and it just wiped my whole screen and said, no, can't talk about that. I'm not allowed to talk about that. No, we can't talk about that. And I was like, holy shit. So I asked the same question about 4 or 5 times, got roughly the same answers, and then just screenshot a lot of them. So they are controlling. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for your continued support, sir. The AI is being controlled by the same puppet masters. They don't want AI telling you any truths. So maybe they will manipulate AI into telling you that we don't need farmers, we've got net zero, everything's fine, go back to sleep, your government loves you. Mephistopheles, sniffing your own farts will soon be banned. I'm not sniffing a cow's fart. I've seen the cow pats. They're enough to put hairs on my chest. Bad Wolf Project says, notice the bots have left the chat. Oh yeah. It was about 20 of them. I was watching them as I stopped talking about Douggy and went to talk about this, the really intelligent stuff. They're obviously, oh, my brain's fried. I don't know what he's talking about. He's too intelligent for me. No, I'll go back to knob gags. So remember that they don't want you and I to eat meat. Comedy opening, I'm not going down that route. I said to you last night, cultivating your own food, putting the food on your table from either your own allotment or your own garden, everything. Thank you, Stephen. Again, thank you for the continued support. They want us to not eat meat. They don't. They want you and I scratching around in the ground for any food that we can find. But we've already got genetically modified food, GMO. Are you aware that the Dutch government are closing down 3,000 farms to meet the EU's targets, emission targets? I'll say that to you again. The Dutch government is trying to close down 3,000 farms to meet EU emission targets, net zero. The EU is evil. Evil. In Denmark wants to charge farmers £80 per cow. It's the world's first meat tax. They don't want us eating healthy meat. Whether that be, I don't know, steak, beef, cows, pork. I mean, I love a bit of pork. Some people go, oh, no, cloven hoof, no, can't eat that. Oh, try telling me that you don't like the taste of belly pork. So remember all the farmers' protests. We had farmers' protests in Germany, France, United Kingdom, Holland, Spain, the Spanish farmers. They were all kicking off. Have you noticed how that's all gone quiet? So in Holland, they're trying to close down 3,000 farms to hit EU emission targets. In Denmark, they're charging farmers £80 a cow. It's the world's first meat tax. And that's why all the farmers are kicking off. No farmers, no food. That's the kind of the narrative that's been promulgated. But let me tell you, Ed Millipede, the man that stabbed his own, metaphorically of course, stabbed his own brother in the back to get the top job. It's the same man, Ed Millipede. He's cleared prime farmland in East Anglia. Oh, what for, Adrian? Well, I've told you, solar panels. Do you want to know how big an area he's decided to clear? This is prime farmland where you could have arable, or you could be a pig man, or a beef man, or you could be anything. 1,795 football pitches worth of solar panels. That's just in East Anglia. Just dig the get off and put some food in there. Put animals on the land. Look, what they want us to eat is lab-grown food. That will get, and this is all around digital ID. I cannot impress upon you how much this and how important this is. Digital ID will be brought in. It might take them a few years while we calm down after we've taken to the streets. And what they want us to do is they want us to eat lab-grown food. Similar to some takeaway eateries and processed food. They want us to eat lab-grown food and processed food so they can control our consumption. I'm talking about the dark shadows. They want to control us, what we do, what we say, and what we eat. And by doing that, it means that they want us to eat their lab-grown food and their processed food. And I will say this in all seriousness, that our supply of natural food is under a very real threat. And it's mission creep. It's just slowly mission creep. But our supply of natural food being under a very real threat is simply Agenda 2030 from the United Nations. You will eat less meat. Agenda 2030 from the United Nations, you will eat less meat. And they want to have programmable currency so that you could be forced to eat. If you're not towing the line, like the Chinese Communist Party or the World Economic Forum, if you're not towing the line, they could make you buy lab-grown meat. You can't buy real meat. You just will buy lab-grown meat. Oh, shit. Bad Wolf Project. Italy gives go-ahead to insect flour for human consumption. I knew that was coming. Yes, of course, Kaz. Of course. If you can get it past the censor, go ahead. Digital ID, programmable currency, the blockchain, and then they'll decide what you and your family can and can't eat. The only thing that I can suggest to you is, and again, it's using real organic food. Grow it in your own garden. Grow it in your own allotment. But what will happen is that allotments will be taken away from councils. They'll build houses or something on that land. Tomorrow, just before 5 p.m, the Supreme Court ruling will be announced on the Car Finance Commission case. Anyone that had a car on HP or PCP between 2009 and 2021 could be due redress. I'm in there, Kaz, but thank you for letting everybody know. So they'll control your money. You can't buy real food. Thank you, Paul. I'll have a 5, guys. You won't be allowed to eat healthy food. But you can grow food in buckets. You don't need to have a garden per se. You can have a patio and grow potatoes in buckets and grow varying things in buckets. Which is why I want to have a community of like-minded people, possibly on a second channel. I don't even care if there's only 50 of us. At least we can support each other. And what I'm after is knowledge. And being able to grow stuff and working out what's best for the different parts of the country. You know, Scotland's going to be different to Brighton, but because of the heat and stuff. But the programmable currency could force you to eat lab-grown meat if they decide that you're getting a bit too up yourself and a bit too clever. So remember, we've got an energy crisis. Really? I thought we had an abundance of energy. We have a food crisis, but there's an abundance of food worldwide. We have a water crisis, but 70% of the bloody planet is covered in water. I've told you about Israel, the desalination kings of the world, because it's a desert, Israel. There's going to be a resource crisis. Oh, why is that, Adrian? Because they're going to make sure that you can't afford gas and electric. You'll be back to candles. Be like bloody Victorian times. It's all a sham. It's all a scam. Who did this? The architects of globalism. And I gave you some of the organizations: the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, who want to oversee more than just your health. What you eat, how you eat it. Now, how are they controlling the narrative? What they're saying to you and others so that they believe what is being said. Wow, Bad Wolf Project says protein pasta is made with mung beans, love them, 10% cricket powder and water. Oy, 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 oy. Do you know, Gene Psychic, that's actually a very good point. They're saying, oh, we've got no more pensions, so you're going to have to work until you're 150. Have they spent the whole pension pot? Thieving bastards. Technical term. So how are they controlling the narrative? They have the front men and women who are just promulgating what the WEF tell them to say and how to say it. Otherwise, this little piece of paper, we know what you've been doing and who with, and that will end up in the mainstream media, and you'll just have to bagger off, and you'll lose all of your perks. But those that control the narrative are starting from the ground up, and this is where Farage has been very clever. He's gone into the local councils that Reform have taken over and doing and have done what Doge has done in the States, Elon Musk. So your local council, ooh, have you seen that the chat was disconnected? Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Successfully connected. All right. Who said something they shouldn't? Reg says, grow your own food in your garden. Does anyone think it won't be stolen? I told you before, I was given this very wise counsel by a police officer. Find anybody in your house. This is what I would do, because in law, the bedroom is sacrosanct. You find anybody nicking your garden stuff, your food, I'd drag them in the house. And then I'd have a very stern word with them. And then I'd call the police and say, Bonnie lad, I found this bloke in my house. Not quite sure where he's come from. Not quite sure who he is. But he's got 2 broken arms, 2 broken legs, and his face is a real mess. Don't know how he's got there. And then the police come and say, oh, he's done this to me, he's done that to me. Well, it's his word against mine. I'm a fine, upstanding member of the community, and he's in my house. Well, he's in my bedroom. And I will say to them, I don't know how he's got there. Don't know how he's got there. His word against mine. The bedroom, the most sacrosanct room in the whole of your house. So, Reg, if anybody wants to come and have a go at me carrots, hell mend them. I'll just leave the dog in the garden. Mind you, they couldn't get any meat for the dog to distract the dog because it's lab-grown meat, and the dog would be like, oh, how do we end shite, man? I'm not eating that. And what are you doing in my garden? Arr! So the local councils are going to try to control the narrative. It's from the bottom up, not the top down. What's the quality control? Designed top down, implemented bottom up. There are those who know what I'm talking about. I'm so glad that my mate Mike taught me that a long time ago. Quality control. Design top down, implement bottom up. So what Farage has gone, into these local councils. He's gone in and gone, how much you paying? Fucking DEI? No. I'd a weird shite, man. I'm not having that. But watch out for C40 cities. That's Charlie 40 cities. Global Covenant of Mayors. Climate Emergency UK. These are all organisations operating in the shadows, in the background, that you don't even know exists. Of course they don't. They don't stick their head above the parapet. They don't want you to know what they're up to. And do you know that local councils create scorecards? Your local council is supposed to be a planet saver. I don't win shite, man. They're just... It's a technical term. They're just spunking money left, right, and centre. They're spending your taxes. So the money goes to central government. Central government gives to local councillors. Local councillors get all their expenses and live in bloody Jamaica. You know that story, don't you? The councillor in the northeast of England, Bishop Auckland, I think it was, lived in Jamaica. Just got all these expenses paid for everything in Jamaica. So if you look at the mainstream media about controlling the narrative, if you look at the mainstream media, wow. Tina Barrick says, apologies, Tina, I hope I've pronounced that. Is it Barwick or Barrick? I've noticed how all the adverts for shakes and food in powders that have all the added goodness, protein added to everything. It's like they are changing the way we view our food. Of course they are. Of course they are. They don't want you eating meat. They want you to purchase lab-grown meat, and they want you to eat processed food. No natural food. The body can't take it. It is depopulation writ large. Bad Wolf Project, UK government pension pot is valued at around 5 trillion. Since July 2024, Labour have spent 2.63 trillion. No pensions by 2035. Fuck. Terry Wookfit says in the UK, only London has global Charlie 40. I've told you, that's what Sadiq Khan's been put in power for. He's turning London into a 15-minute city. Or now they're calling it a C40, C40. Interesting, Les. I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. All that good fun eating insects. PSYOP? Do you know it would make sense? I'm not eating kangaroo's testicles, though. Jesus, I'll be hopping mad. Look, it's the best I've got. Didn't say I was any good. I said I was cheap. But if you look at the mainstream media, and this is, I've only got another couple of pages to go with this, and then we'll talk about Epstein and digital ID. The narrative is controlled by varying government departments, but they will tell you that there is dis, and malinformation. So you're going to start hearing now that YouTubers are creating misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Because, like the scientists I told you about last night, the scientists are like, oh no, we know what we're talking about. Yeah, of course you've got to believe us. Well, we believed you in 2020. You were going to flatten the curve by 6 weeks. And all of a sudden, Whitty and everybody else are making millions as consultants. Wasn't it Whitty that went into the Tony Blair Foundation? He's on the board of the World Economic Forum. So all of these things are being just pushed in our faces all that bloody time. And it's they're going to continue to fight for control. This is the puppet masters, the World Economic Forum and others. They're going to fight for the control. So what we have to do, you and I, is not out-woke the wokerati, because they're starting at the bottom, like Farage and the councils. What the UN and the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum, notice how there's only a couple of these. You've got Club of Rome and all those, Bilderberg and others that are still going. And some of the notes that I've made yesterday, some of my research, I'm going to bring on Sunday. I'm going to continue this to give you some kind of succor and hope and know that all is not lost. But what they do is they start at the bottom. And what's the bottom? Education. So in education, the children are going to have to out-woke the wokerati, because it's the only route for academic success. So whether you're a doctor or a professor or an academic of any kind, whether you're at university, you're going to get better marks if you out-woke the wokerati. But that shouldn't be so. You shouldn't have to kowtow and tug your forelock and do things that your lecturer at university goes, oh, very well done. Yes, very well done. Yes, we're all going to die. Net zero. It's going to save the planet, don't you know? Cough. So let's talk about the online safety bill that kind of came in, because this is all part of, it's an enmeshed society. It's the jigsaw. It's joining the dots for you. So we've got academia starting at the bottom. We've got the local councils doing what they can to outwoke the wokerati, to kind of be right on, and DEI, and hiring people for $100 grand a year to work out whether they're the rainbow people or which letter they are of the alphabet people. But last Friday, they've unleashed this online safety bill. It's about the children. It's about the children. They never stopped Jimmy Savile, did they? Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old child, an 8-year-old girl, on BBC property, and an inquiry looked into Savile and Rolf Harris and others, what they did on BBC property, and it came out that Jimmy Savile raped an 8-year-old child on BBC property. Nobody else tells you this. And what came out of that inquiry? Tony Blackburn kissed a 16-year-old girl in the 60s. Nothing about Savile, and it was about Savile's time at the BBC. But it was the BBC that was publishing the inquiry. Can you not see? It's corrupt. So the online safety bill is now saying we're protecting the children. Can I offer you something? Why don't we have an education safety bill? If they are so concerned, and as I said to you last night, I had to go to O2 and say, look, lads, I'm trying to do my research around who's going to be the next Prime Minister, and I can't get to the gambling websites. And they said, okay, sir, are you over 18? I said, you've seen me in contract. Of course I'm over 18. You know who I am. I want to get to these gambling sites to see whether Yvette Cooper or Wes Streeting is going to be the next Prime Minister. So they allowed me in. So what they're not saying, the politicians, and Des makes a very good point, who was Hugh Edwards? Who was Hugh Edwards protecting? Leah says we should have a minister for children. Oh, can you imagine the consternation that would cause in Parliament? They've already got a WhatsApp group for rent boys in Portcullis House. Can you imagine? Am I ordering a pizza or am I ordering a hot dog? And if you know what that is, Pizzagate, code, little girl, little boy. Did you never ever question yourself why Andrew said he couldn't have been there that night? I had Beatrice at Pizza Express in Woking. It was code. Pizza is code. Hot dog, code. So the menu for Pizzagate was all these different flavors, all these different things. Top of 69 says pie, anyone? I know, isn't it? Oh God, I can see her. The Labour MP who wanted to push pie being accepted. I know, Alan. Libor, Charles are. Bloody hell. They'll all be on pizza all day, every day. So I believe that the online safety bill isn't, and I listened to a little bit of Nick Ferrari on LBC this morning, who was talking about the online safety bill, and there was some guy who worked in designing websites and stuff, and he said, it's not about the kids, man. This is too stringent. They're laughing at us and they're stopping us from getting online. And they're going to do that. Digital ID, they're going to stop you from getting online. If you want to do research around who's going to be the next Prime Minister and you can get access to the gambling websites, and you've got Yvette Cooper at 11 to 1 and you've got Wes Streeting at 11 to 1. You can't even get on them if you haven't got digital ID. If you've not got digital ID, you can't get online. It's really that simple. But if I'm saying to you we should have an education safety bill to protect the children from propaganda and agendas. Oh, interesting, Bad Wolf Project. Gambling and porn sites are blocked by all mobile providers as gambling sites as you have to be over 18. I was just a bit annoyed that I couldn't do my research, and I was getting very frustrated. I mean, this was a while ago. I was getting very frustrated that I couldn't get... I wanted to come on here and I wanted to go, oh, by the way, Starmer's gone, he's finished, he's done. Labour Party finished and done, possibly, unless they get rid of Starmer during the summer. And Yvette Cooper is 11-1 for the next Prime Minister, as is Wes Streeting. Get a tenner on it. I couldn't. It really frustrated me. Terry Wookford, will take more than Starmer to stop me having a quick one off the wrist on Pornhub. Whatever gets you through the night, Terry. I want to refocus on this. I want to refocus on an education safety bill, because that really is for our children's benefit. And when we were in lockdown, I felt really sorry for the very, very younger kids. All they wanted to do was go to school, be with their mates, be with their pals, and have fun at school. And they were just locked down. It couldn't get out. So that's bound to have some kind of effect on their mental health. But it's these propagandas and agendas that you don't see as parents or grandparents. We should have an education safety bill that protects children from propaganda and agendas. So what is the goal of all of this? What is the goal? Well, tonight I would suggest that the goal is transhumanism. What do you mean, Adrian? Well, not trans that we would know today, but transhumanism, the fusion of technology, technocracy, and human beings. I mean, Elon Musk already wants to inject us with chips so that we'll be able to go to a vet and they'll go, yeah, he's had all of his inoculations, but give him 3 tins of chum a day and he'll be fine. Even Klaus Schwab says, most recently, 10 years from now, the masters of the transhuman technology will be the masters of the universe. I'll say that to you again. Klaus Schwab, in another one of his diatribes, 10 years from now. So, Agenda 2030, anybody? The masters of these transhuman technologies will be the masters of the universe. Because some people are saying, Aldous Huxley, in one of his books, he said that humans are the problem. So some people, the eugenicists and the transhumanists, they're all saying that humans are the problem. The useless eaters are the problems. Vix text, Elon Musk is 3 sheets. Yeah, I know, get them in, from what I've been told. Humans are the problem. But remember me telling you months and months and months and months and months ago, I initially told you when I started this channel about the Georgia Guidestones. And then a year later, somebody blows the heads up. Why would they do that? So on Sunday, I'm going to do a piece about the Georgia Guidestones. You can find the information online, but you can't find the bloody Georgia Guidestones because somebody blew them up and they've gone, finished, done. Nobody knows who put them there. Nobody knows who built them. Nobody knows who put the writing on the writing and who decided what would go on as the writing. Nobody knows anything about the Georgia Guidestones and they blew them up. This is not somebody taking a bulldozer, 3 sheets to the wind and deciding it would be a jolly jape like cutting down a tree in Adrian's wall. This was not even an act of vandalism. It was an act of violence to take down the Georgia Guidestones. I am going to give you a complete run through on Sunday, because the Georgia Guidestone says that humanity should be kept below 500 million humans. and they want depopulation by 2030. It's only 5 years. What are they going to do? Oh, it'll be another pandemic then. Oh, it's coming. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. But we must rise. We must. We must rise. We can't just fight. No. We can and must fight for the things that matter. Whether it's our home, or our children, our grandchildren, our family, our spouses, our brothers and sisters, mothers and sons, and daughters. In essence, we can and must fight for the things that matter. The people that we love. The fairness, if you want, that we like to see. The personal freedoms that we would like to experience. Going for a walk in the mountains, or a walk in nature, or a walk where it feeds your soul. We must not be bullied by the political classes, the parasitical classes, as I call them. Or you and I must not be split by any differing agendas. That's why I do these lives for you. That's why I do it. Now, you might think he's gone all bloody tree-hugging hippie on us again. No. We must not be split by race, gender, culture, or anything else that we hold dear. Nothing. And I will tell you this. Now, this might be a little deep, but this afternoon, I was just thinking about all of this and how I'm going to deliver this to you, present it to you. And I thought to myself, if things were easy, if everything was easy, if we had wealth, riches, everything that we ever wanted, if life was easy, we wouldn't learn who we are. The soul is here to learn who it is. If you believe that we are all a fractal of the ineffable, experiencing itself as consciousness, I'll simplify that by saying God. If God is omnipresent, everywhere, everything. But we've just been fooled by organized religion. That's the biggest evil in the world. Organized religion of any kind. Our soul is here to learn, and the only way it learns is by challenges and difficulties. So some of the parents, and I know it's a tough job, but some of the parents that make it easy for their kids, you're actually destroying their soul. The soul doesn't want it easy. The soul is here to learn. You have a soul, I have a soul. Mind you, we have an arsehole running the country at the moment in 10 Downing Street. So all I am asking you is to recognize that we, the people, you and I, we, the people, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of the children, our children, your children, for the sake of our communities, we need to find a better pathway with transparency. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the government saying, look, there is this wrong within our society, and what we're going to do, and that's what Donald's doing with Make America Great Again. We look at what is needed for the greater good of humanity. But they don't, because we're all being ruled by psychopaths and evil. Look, I will say this to you. Do not live on your knees. Live on your feet. This is why I do these lives, because I want to share the truth with you. Not necessarily my truth, because you will make up your own version of the truth. Your soul needs to learn, wants the challenges. It wants to know how to deal with things. It wants to know that when it's gone on to eternity, because you don't even know, and I don't even know what a soul is. Maybe we're just a soul having a human experience. Maybe 100 years, maybe 90 or 80. But by the time we shuffle off into eternity, the soul's going to go, oh, bloody hell, man. Do I have to go back again? Jesus, I'll be a transhuman going there. They'll chop me cock off when I'm born. I'm not going back there. Bollocks to him. Please do not live on your knees. Live on your feet. Show the way. Be part of a community. Any community. Because human beings thrive as part of communities like this one. Ray Norton, tell that to Bonnie Blue about living on her knees. Ray, honestly, I wouldn't touch it with yours, let alone my own. So we'll get to Epstein to round things off, but digital ID, I just want to say this and reiterate this point that I was making to you. I know sometimes you think that I'm just a curmudgeonly old bagger, and I know that sometimes you think, oh, bloody hell, Adrian. But I've been saying to you for months, keep an eye on what goes on in Australia and Canada and New Zealand. And there we go, Australia. Digital ID is coming first to Australia. It's the World Economic Forum. Less than 10 million people live in Australia. So it's it's a nothing. I told you, all the WEF puppets around the world are going to do as they are told. How are you, wrong'uns? We're not far away from 200. Smash the likes. If you've gotten any value out of what I've said to you tonight and how I've presented it to you, please just smash the likes before I wind up this live tonight. As I was saying, when I did the live on Thursday, was it Tuesday, we had all the technical problems. It ended up being 3 lives. So I ended up getting 3,000 views and over 500 likes. And YouTube will go, bloody hell, what was going on there? Not in a bad way. They'll just kind of promote my channel out to more than other people. And please, whatever you do, if you think there's any value in what I've said tonight or last night, then just share it. Share it, share it, share it. Might get me into trouble, but do you know what? I'd rather live on my feet than on my knees. See what I did there? So, Epstein, I'm going to leave you with this thought tonight. And I will go through all of the comments because you've been making some very, very, very intelligent, clever, and wonderful comments. I'm going to have a look at them tomorrow. And if anything, I've done 5 lives for you this week, and that's over 10 hours of presenting information to you. And I've done it for the love of bringing you information that you can assimilate and take with you and work out thank you, Reg, I really appreciate that. As we all know, we go away and we're trying to find our own truth to protect ourselves, our family, our communities, even our country. When we've got abject evil psychopaths running the game, they don't even tell us what the rules of the game are. They just want us dead. It's as simple as that. Not any drama queenery from people going, oh, they want me dead, they want me dead. Mate, they want us all dead. But, and I hate to tell you this, nobody gets out of here alive. So while we're here, we are merely caretakers. Because what's coming for our kids, I mean, I know it's one of my regrets that I didn't have children. But looking at the way the world is now, I mean, I'm so glad that I didn't bring anyone into this world to be able to have to face what they are going to face in the next 50 years. So kids that are coming in now, and when they get to my age, 50s, 60s, or even older, thank you, Stuart. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Your continued support is wonderful. Bad Wolf Project, you've done that many lives this week. When I walked into the lounge last night, when you finished, my daughter screamed, stranger! Yeah. So our kids, when they get to our age, can you imagine what they've had to endure, what they've had to experience? And I know kids think that they know better. They think, look, 5-year-old going on 50, they know exactly how to do things. Don't need that daddy, granddaddy, mummy. They just know what they're doing. They don't. Because they may technically know how to work an iPhone, but they don't know anything about their emotions. And that's what we're here to learn about. Unless you're a psychopath, of course, in which case you have no empathy, no compassion, and you don't know anything about your own emotions. So thank you for being here. Brilliant. Amalia Grassi says, my dad asked me, who's that man who's always talking on my phone? Wait till they start sending you emergency alerts, Amalia. You'll be able to say your dad. It's the government dad. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for being part of a 5 live week. I will try my best to keep this up. It's definitely going to be 4 every week, and we're going to start. I think we'll start at 7:30 on Sunday, because it helps. It helps me sleep. Tina says, I see that with my grandchildren, Adrian. That's all they're here to learn. Their emotions about themselves. And it's for us, the wise ones, to give them the tools to be able to deal with their own emotions. It's really that simple. That's why you've got the terrible twos. I mean, they're kicking off at 2-year-old. Everybody has. Everybody's been through it. But Ian McGee says, at this rate, our kids and grandkids won't get to our age. Logan's Run comes to mind. There's nothing new, Ian. And somebody somewhere has probably thought, hey, it's a great film. It is. But the premise of it, Theo Bovril, Battenberg forever. And we're getting more new people in the chat and on the channel. I may have to do a resume of the Battenberg story. So thank you to everyone who's been part of the live tonight. I know that it's... I will only ever talk Douggy if there's something new. And so there won't be anything on Sunday unless he kind of goes somewhere where he's not supposed to. But I wanted last night and tonight to be about the stuff that they're not telling you, or even the stuff that you were aware of but couldn't quite join up the jigsaw or the dots. So thank you for tonight's live. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but most of all, your indulgence. 30 more likes, and we got over 200 people watching. 30 more likes. If you could, just smash the likes on your way out, because that would help the channel a great deal. Thank you for your likes, your subscriptions, but as ever, most of all, your indulgence. I feel a real honour being able to do this for you and to bring this for you in these lives. So look after yourself, be well, go well, and don't forget the Battenberg, but whatever you do, wherever you go, remember, this is not a show. This is a mission. I need a couple of days off, and then we'll go again Sunday, 7:30. Sunday, 7:30. I'll put a video up or something just to remind you, but it's the lives will go 7:30 every evening. Thank you for being there tonight. Enjoyed it. I'll see you on Sunday, 7:30.